Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is a very special episode of Splat from the Past for two reasons. One, it's my 700th interview. I didn't even think I was going to fucking make it to 10, and I say that every milestone episode, but it's true, and so I'm very grateful. And it's because I'm interviewing a classic 80s rock musician, bass player Mario Cipollina, who was in Huey Lewis in the News. He's coming on the show today to talk about, the rise and fall of the band and, how he got started playing bass. His brother, John Cipollina, was the guitarist for Quicksilver Messenger Service, a great psychedelic rock band from San Francisco as well. And talk about what he's doing now. And I'm just so grateful and blessed, as I said. So yeah, here is my interview with Mario Cipollina. Hey Mario, welcome to the show.
Hello, I was just about to call you up and see what's up. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great today.
Things haven't been great today?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, as someone who grew up in San Mateo, California, listening to Huey Lewis in the News, this is a great honor. You're my 700th guest today.
700th?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
700th.
Really? Today?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Today, I get it. Well, thank you. That's pretty nice to hear.
Yes. Oh. Thank you for taking the time today.
Of course, my pleasure.
So, going back in time, no pun intended, as people may or may not know, your brother John Cipollina was a guitarist in another great Bay Area band, Quicksilver Messenger Service.
He was.
At what age, though, did you start gravitating toward music?
Well, my mom taught piano, so I heard piano pretty much the day I was born, and but I didn't, because I heard it every day. The last thing I wanted to do was learn to play piano.
Yeah.
But when I was in elementary school, in the first grade, they had not a competition. It was a thing where the symphony players would come to the auditorium, and they would each play their instrument. Mm-hmm. And we had one of those ditto sheets. It was ditto. The stuff that smelled really good when it came off the press, that blue stuff.
Yeah.
They gave us each a sheet that had a picture of the instrument that was being played, and if you heard what you liked go across the stage, you could circle it and get lessons. Unlike today where you basically can't. But then you could. So I circled bass because when the guy played, all the other instruments played, and that guy came and bowed a note of the string bass, and you could feel it in the whole auditorium.
Wow.
And I love that. And to this day, really, when I play, I get up on stage to a sound check or whatever, and I play that first note of the day, I get that same feeling every time. I just like, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I love this. I just love it. So it's just been a passion of mine since I was 7 years old. Yeah, I started playing when I was 7.
Wow. So is that your only instrument?
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
Can you remember the first record you ever bought?
Elvis Presley, I'm All Shook Up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Yeah.
How about your first concert?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I went to a lot of concerts when I was young, when I was starting about 9 years old. Mm-hmm. Because my brother played in Quicksilver, and my parents were huge supporters of all of us. Any of us did anything. They were just great parents. And they would go to all his shows that were in the Bay Area, which meant we were at the Avalon and the Fillmore a lot, which means I was exposed to all that stuff at a young age. And unbeknownst to my parents, I was taking acid by the time I was 10 years old. And so we saw a lot of concerts back then. I can't think of any other shows I ever went to on purpose, really, you know, I always went to the Quicksilver shows, and whoever was playing with them, I would see, you know, which meant I got to see everything from Muddy Waters to, you know, Bill Graham shows were pretty diverse as far as the music content that he would bring into the shows. You know, he would have the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band and right. Frank Zappa and Cream on one show, you know.
Yeah.
So we got to see, it was exposed to a lot of stuff.
Wow, Acid at 10 years old, man, that must have been just trippy.
I'm telling you, man, I've started to write a book many times, and I honestly don't think anyone will believe it. Which is why I haven't written it, because I just thought no one's going to believe this. They would never believe it, you know.
Yeah.
The stuff I was exposed to, and since I was a player at a young age, I was very young when I started getting gigs, you know. I mean, I was 15 years old when I was touring with a band called Stoneground. I played the Hollywood Bowl and played toured big places, and so I was exposed to a lot at a very early age. Yeah, it's neat. It was neat. It's been great. But I don't think anyone believes it. If I wrote the book, I don't think they'd believe it. So, yeah,
I believe it.
Janis Joplin gave me a sip off her Southern Comfort when I was 11 years old backstage at the Fillmore.
Who did?
Janis Joplin.
Oh, Janis Joplin. Oh wow! I just met the two remaining guys of the original Big Brother and the Holding Company.
Which ones? Who's Peter? Peter Albert? Is he still alive?
Yeah, Peter. And then who's the drummer?
Oh God. I want to say Spencer Dryden, but I know that he wasn't. He was in the airplane. I don't know. I don't remember actually.
Yeah, but
sorry.
It's okay. Peter though, yeah, and he was cool. They were both cool, but
he's a great guy. He's the nicest guy. God, sweetheart.
Yeah, very nice guy. But the energy in those places, God, just must have been intense back then.
It was beautiful. It really was. I consider myself an old hippie, although I didn't really do a lot of the hippie kind of things. But but the whole consciousness of that time, and you know, expanding everything you could, you know, your mind, whatever. It's just and the revolution part of it is a big part of me. You know, I relate to those times still more than today. Much more than today, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of a disappointment in a way.
Yeah, music today is just not music anymore. It's just a bunch of sounds. A bunch of
So to what? I think of your description, yeah.
Corporate robot sounds. That's all it is.
Yeah, right. That sounds like it. Yeah, it's sad. When you watch late night TV and see bands on, you got to figure, you know, the way the internet thing has happened, it's become harder and harder to get a record deal.
Yeah.
So the bands you see on TV at night are the few bands that have record deals, and that's disgusting.
Yeah.
God, I mean, some of the bands I've seen on these late night shows is like, wow. And there you go. That's what you're right. Robot corporate music. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're only getting signed because they have a huge Instagram following.
Yeah, right. Right. It's weird. What it takes to be successful is pretty scary.
It is.
That's the reason. That's the reason I never released my solo album. I worked on an album for 11 years, and I decided not to put it out. It was like, why bother? You know, I couldn't figure a way to get it heard, and I didn't really figure out commercial success because it's an instrumental album.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem worth the trouble. You know, it's a lot. It's a hassle to release it out now. It's hard.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with boxes of records around the house and mailing stickers and all that stuff. I just figured I'd enjoy it and hell with it. You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody asks me to hear something, I'll give it to them. You know, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that Quicksilver album, Happy Trails, is just a masterpiece from that era. And when I was a kid, I'd go to my uncle's house for barbecue, and he would play that album a lot. And I think I've heard their version of Who Do You Love More than Bo Diddley or George Thorogood.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, that shows the Who Do You Love was my birthday, and at the Fillmore they recorded that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 36, but I'm the oldest 36-year-old you'll ever meet.
Yeah, right. I get it. Well, I always wonder how people today get exposed to that music. I guess it was your uncle, basically, who turned you on to older stuff, right?
Yeah, because this was in the 90s, and he had cassette tapes of it back then, and so he just played them over and over.
Right. Well, yeah. I wonder, because a lot of people are still getting exposed to. It still surprises me how many people are exposed to the Beatles catalog. It's pretty surprising. I mean, they were an amazing band, but just that they still are getting airplay enough to have people be that familiar with it is pretty surprising. That's shocking, actually.
Yeah. Well, after Michael Jackson died, Paul McCartney got the catalog back, and he finally succumbed to putting it all on YouTube. So a lot of people listen to a lot of Beatles on YouTube, and a lot of other people too.
Oh, so is that what happened? Is that when Paul released his catalog after Michael died?
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. But when did Soundhole start?
Soundhole was a band that we started when I was a sophomore in high school. Mm-hmm. I was 14, 15 years old. That's when it started, yeah. And we played the founding member of that band was Dan Shalleck, who was murdered, actually.
Ooh.
In '93. He and his parents both were all killed by a crazy guy at their house in Mill Valley.
Wow.
And so after that, we kind of had to decide whether we wanted to keep going or not. It seemed kind of like almost like a sign to can it, but I couldn't picture another way for us to make a living or have any fun, or it was like everything was going to come to a stop, and so at that point Dan was the leader of the band, and I became the leader of the band, and actually I went and interviewed Bill Graham in his office in San Francisco, and asked him, how he's his old friend of our family, so I had access to him. Mm-hmm. And I asked him what I should do, management wise, how do you get this going? And so he gave me we spent half a day together, and make a long story short, I became the band's basically manager, booking agent, and opened an office in Mill Valley, and we found another guitar player, and we carried on at Soundhole. We actually were called Whitehole for the first couple of years, and we became Soundhole, and then we carried on until I was about 19, or maybe even later than that, maybe 20 or 21, I guess. But that we started off playing a lot of Mothers of Invention and Frank's, the Zappa Mahavishnu Orchestra, pretty avant-garde, out there stuff. But it was really good for our chops,
Yeah.
If you can play the Chick Corea music, you can pretty much get around. And then we became a little bit more kind of mainstream sounding as time went on. But yeah, so that's how we started.
Were you guys getting goofy with the lyrics like Zappa?
Oh yeah. Yep. Can't repeat a word of it.
Yeah. So it was you, Johnny Cola, and Bill Gibson in the band?
Yeah, Johnny, Bill, and I, and a guy named John Foray, and a guitarist, Brian Marnell, who went on to start SVP. He unfortunately died. He OD'd, but yeah, that's who's in the band. It was Foray, Cola, Gibson, me, and Marnell. Yeah.
Mm. And you guys were kind of competition with Huey's band Clover?
Yeah, we sure were. I mean, there's a kind of thing where we were high school rival bands in high school,
Yeah.
That's what we carried on out onto the streets of Marin when we all graduated from high school. And yeah, like we had poster boards kind of thing where Clover would make if we were on the same billing in the local club. We would say, let's say, for example, at the Lion's Share of such and such night, San Hole and Clover were playing. Well, so we wanted it to look like we were headlining. So we would make posters with San Hole in giant letters and Clover in little tiny letters and put that up all over the marina. And then the next day, Clover would have gone out and put their poster up with Clover in large letters and San Hole in little tiny letters, and they would have put them up over our posters. And so we'd go the whole week going over each other's posters around the county. And that was pretty much the extent of our competition. It was pretty
just
kind of competition. But
just petty shit.
We were going for it.
Yeah, just petty shit. Did you guys open for big names later?
I'm trying to think. Not very many. I think we played a couple shows at Wonderland where we were opening act for. One of them was Little Feet and Quicksilver.
Right.
And I can't remember who the other show was. I think it was Hot Tuna or something like that. But we didn't get a lot of opening slots for bands. We pretty much had to go there and slug it out on our own in the club scene for the most part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did the news form?
Well, so what happened was that the Sound Hole kind of gave up. We've been trying for a long time to get us a record deal. We tried a lot of different ways to make a record deal. We got really close. Mm-hmm. And Clover actually got a record deal. They went off to England to pursue that.
Right.
And but they were playing gigs. They were playing gigs opening up for Thin Lizzy a lot, and they were a country rock band, and they got booed off every stage in Great Britain, basically. Yeah. And we weren't getting booed off stages, but we were slugging it out here trying to get record deals. And we all just kind of gave up on our own bands finally after a while, after a long while, long while, and so what ended up happening was we all we broke our bands up, and Huey, well, he was in England, we met a guy, Jake Riviera, who managed Elvis Costello, and he offered Huey a record deal, and it was for one single, and it was good. He wanted to have us cut, a cut of Exodus disco version. Believe it or not, I don't know why. He had this urge to have release a single called Exodisco.
Yeah.
And so Huey got in touch with all his favorite players from both bands. Basically, it was the only bands he knew. So he got calls all each of us, and we went and cut this demo. I mean, we cut the single, and but there was a lot of money left over in the budget. So we cut it pretty quickly, and so we ended up the owner of the record studio, the owner's wife liked the tape. She heard of our stuff. We cut about 6 of our own songs just for the fun of it, and the owner's wife gave a copy of Bob Brown, who was a manager who managed Pablo Cruz at that time, and he fell in love with it. So he got in touch with Huey, and he said, "I'd like to offer you guys a deal, a management deal." And Huey said, "Well, we're not really a band. It's not he said, "Well, see if you can put the band together and then get back to me." So he got in touch with all of us. I had gone to New York joining Foreigner because I'd gotten that gig I auditioned for with a bunch of 200 other guys that got the job.
Oh.
And I was in New York, and I got a call from Huey, and he explained what was going on, and that they had met with Bob Brown, and that Bob Brown offered us a management contract for 6 months. He said, "Give me 6 months to get you a record contract, and after that you could be free." So, although I got offered a lot more money to play with Foreigner, I came home because I wasn't very happy being away from home. Honestly, to be honest with you. And I came back. We started, and we put the band together, and we went and showcased a lot of times for record companies and stuff. And we got a deal. Bob got us a deal within 6 months, and it was Chrysalis Records. We were all familiar with, and we started from there. That's how we got started.
Wow, that's a happy accident.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah, that's a happy accident there. I should also mention in Clover, it was Huey and Sean Hopper, too. But where did Chris Hayes come from?
That's a really good question. He was someone that Huey knew of. I think Huey had heard, he was playing with his sister, Bonnie, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Huey had heard him on a demo or a album or something that he did with Bonnie. And that's how he was familiar with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that. I had heard that he was strictly a jazz guitarist, but for a guy who played strictly jazz, I mean, that guy can rock.
Yeah, he can. And I don't think he was strictly a jazz player at all. He's a bebop player. He's a master bebop player. Actually, he's amazing at it. Mm-hmm. But it certainly wasn't the only thing he liked. I mean, he played all kinds of music. But I think he wasn't playing bebop with his sister.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, I mean, like, when I hear the sound of you guys, I mean, you guys got all these mixtures of like R&B, blues rock, and mainstream arena rock, which I think Chris, brought to the table.
Yeah. Yep.
All those great sounds.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, that first album you guys did in 1980, it's kind of an oddity because on that album, it sounded like you guys were experimenting with the British new wave pub rock that like Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe were doing at the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like, a song like Some of My Lies Are True kind of reminds me of Costello's Radio or something like that at that same time.
Right, She's Just Like a Girl and all that stuff. I don't know if that was on the album. Mm-hmm. Was she Just Like a Girl? Was that on the album? Do you remember?
Let me look it up.
I don't know. I can't remember. I could hum a few bars, but that probably wouldn't help. Anyway, you're right. It was very much drawn off of the new wave thing. Our haircut, the look of the band, the sound was very much digging into that bag of tricks. Yeah.
Yeah. The song is not on the album.
Oh, it's not. I guess not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. We should have put that out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But Picture This became the album that put you guys on the map with Mutt Lange's Do You Believe in Love?
That's right.
Did you guys start touring with huge bands after that?
Yes. Yeah, I would say later on, after that album got a little bit of it got critical acclaim, but it never converted to sales. But we got enough acclaim to get some opening acts to get opening act spots on tours, and we opened up for Loverboy, three. What's her name? Oh God, I'm gapping out.
Blondie
was one of the other band we played with. We opened up for a few big bands.
Blondie.
Go ahead.
Was it Blondie that you opened for?
Nope, not Blondie. But there were a few, not a bunch. But the band I forgot. For some reason, I'm forgetting the name of it. I remember the video had horses in it. That's all I. It'll come to me after about 10 minutes after we hang up. I'll remember the name of the band. But yeah, I don't know why I'm forgetting it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I knew I was going to forget something during this interview. So there it is.
Because I think I heard you guys open for the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, we did. We opened for a good bit of a tour of theirs. It was fun because they had their own airplanes. They had two DC-3 1950s era airliners, which are prop planes. Big prop planes, huge prop planes.
Yeah.
And one for the band, one for the crew. So we got to go out on the Crewbie liner. So we didn't have to drive, to hell and back. We rode on the crew bus every day. We rode the crew plane every day, which is a far sight better than slogging it out in a rent-a-car.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yeah.
Yeah. Now I heard there was a story involving the masters for sports. Like it almost prevented the album from being released. Like there was a fire or something. Yeah.
Would you say a fire?
What was it? A fire or something?
Oh no. Sorry. It was what happened is the day of our record release party, which our record releases were always pretty quiet affairs. We just had a listening of the album at the record plant with our parents and our girlfriends and stuff like that. We invited them to come and listen. So we were at our playback party at the record plant, and about halfway through listening to the album, Bob who had stepped out of the room, excuse me, Bob who had stepped out of the room, came in and tapped each of us on the shoulder and said, "Come in here, I got to talk to you." So while our parents were all in one room listening to the album, Bob takes us in this other room and says, "I don't know what to tell you guys." He said, "I just tried, on the phone trying to call Chrysalis in L.A., and the phones are disconnected." And he said, "So I tried to call them in the New York office, and their phone's disconnected." And he said, "So I called headquarters in London, and their phones are disconnected." He says, "I don't know what to tell you, but it sounds like we don't have a record company." And, which we didn't, as it turned out. The record company, Chris Wright, had folded the label. He got pissed off in a rage in a limousine in New York. He was all hopped up on coke and decided that the best thing for him to do was to fire everyone in the record company. Okay, so we're about to record a record on an album on a label that didn't exist, basically. So Bob suggested that until they get regrouped, that we steal the masters and hide them and don't give them to him until he feels that we have an album. And we told him, "Bob, whatever you think we should do it." And so we hid the album. We hid the masters for about a year.
Wow.
While Bob helped them and insisted that they regroup with their original people. All the guys he fired, he insisted he hire them all back. And they all wanted quite a bit more money to come back because they're pissed off at him. So he had to hire everyone back to the label. And some of them refused for a long time. And Bob held firm. Bob's a great manager. He was amazing. And he kept the album hidden until he felt that it was okay. And then finally, when we gave it to him, they flipped out. They realized that he was right. That we had help on their hands. They believed we had nailed it. So they got behind it all the way. They had a lot of writing on it. By the time the record was released, they had a lot of writing on it. So that's how that went.
Wow. So that was just
it was a hard year. It was a year we had had record company backing for tours and stuff till then, and then we had to slug it out, make it happen on our own. So we had a year. We called it the Working for a Living tour, because we played every parking lot club, every strip mall bar in the United States. We played everywhere, and with nobody there, $200-300 at a time. It was tough, but that's what we had to do. So, Working for a Living tour, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, so that was a mixture of artistic integrity and there was studio politics involved.
Well, I think it was just a matter of it was bad. It was just a business move. Bob couldn't see fit to release an album that he believed in that had that much work and maybe the album of a lifetime, and release it. We'd been throwing it away. If he released it when they wanted, when Chris Wright wanted to, it would have been thrown away. It would have never gotten played. It would have been no one to promote the album. It would not have happened. No way. And so sports was right. Our career was riding on that album.
Yeah. Ironically.
What's that?
Oh, I was going to say, ironically, it became the biggest biggest hit you guys ever had. It was your first big mega hit, and in my opinion, it's your best album.
Yeah, man. A lot of people think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been a shame to have it just drift into nowhere. Wouldn't you think? I think it would. I mean, it would have been complete. It would have been throwing away our whole career. You know.
Yeah.
I think Bob did the right thing. Absolutely, I agree with him wholeheartedly. He never made a move I didn't agree with, though, which is great. You know.
Yeah.
It'd be a great feeling to have a manager you trust like that. You know.
Absolutely, because the business
is a rare thing. A rare thing in our business, to have a manager you trust, who you would trust to give you a pile of papers to sign.
Yeah.
And you would sign them without even questioning whether or not they were in your best interest. You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty damn rare.
Very rare.
Especially now. Yeah. So we were very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Yeah. You even co-wrote the song "You Crack Me Up," which I love that song. What was the genesis behind that?
Oh, just bass riffs that Huey wanted to wrap some words around. I never have been much for lyric writing. Whatever I do, it always gets me in trouble. So that was just Huey wrote the words, and I wrote the music.
Nice.
Yeah, just a bunch of bass riffs.
Nice.
No biggie.
You guys became super huge when you made those goofy, elaborate videos for MTV. It's like you guys were trying to emulate the Beatles or the Monkees, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You were always the guy with the sunglasses and the cigarette dangling. How did you come up with that?
Well, it's kind of Bob Brown's fault. We were doing a TV show in L.A., and I had been kind of bouncing around like everybody else in the first album or two, or first album. The second album, I think I was pretty much got into the sunglasses, but we were doing a TV show in LA, and we were doing camera checks. And when they do camera checks, they were doing camera checks on the front line guys. So basically, we would run through the songs, but the only people that were doing their jumping around thing was Huey, Chris, and Johnny. Mm-hmm. And so I was just basically leaning on my amp, smoking a cigarette, and had sunglasses on, and that's what we were doing. When Bob saw this, he came to me during the break and said, "Hey, Mario," he said, what do you think about you doing that the whole time? I said, "Doing what?" He goes, "Just kind of standing there looking bored and smoking a cigarette. Do you think you could do it all the time?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't think so, Bob." I said, "My mom would kill me if I did that." He goes, "Mario, I really think," he said, "I just watching that TV, he said, I just saw this funny contrast between all the guys bouncing around and you standing there looking bored." He said, "I just think it's great."
Yeah.
And so it was sort of no skin off my nose. It just basically gave me the night off, you know?
Yeah.
And so for the next, 8 years or so, I just meandered around the stage smoking a cigarette during our shows. That's what I did.
Wow. Yeah, they always had you. They always had you doing off the wall stuff in the videos, like If This Is It, you're wearing the black leather and you got the snake around your neck and you're like sunbathing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was fun. I got to write a lot of my own parts in the videos. A lot of us, we got to contribute a lot of our own ideas in the videos, and some of them I came up with, and some of them the band guys did, or whoever was directing sometimes would come up with the ideas. But it was fun because I guess because I was doing something different than everyone else on stage, it always ended up leading into me having a kind of special little parts of the videos, which was great. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you're the waiter on the ferry boat, and I want a new drug with the Alka-Seltzer, and
right, and the vampire in Heart and Soul, and the shark in that video. I don't remember which video it is, but
If This Is It, yeah,
Stuck With You,
or Stuck With You, yeah.
Yeah, and the scuba diver guy who's smoking a cigarette underwater. That was pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It's hard to get a cigarette to light underwater.
Yeah, special effects.
It's a lot of magnesium.
That video for I Want a New Drug reminds me of all the Duran Duran videos from that time with the split screen and like the views of the bay. It looks like it's like in the Duran Duran videos, there's all the views of Sri Lanka. It's like the same motif, you know.
Oh, is it really? I haven't seen the video. That makes sense. I don't know. I think you know, I guess directors kind of feed off each other in those instances. You know.
Yeah.
People watch each other's videos and stuff and get ideas. Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. And to this day, people on the internet are still asking why the heck Huey breaks the fourth wall and does that creepy smile at the end of the Harder Rock and Roll video.
What do you think about that? What, he breaks a wall?
He breaks the fourth wall and does this creepy smile to the camera while his heart is beating.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm understanding correctly. You say he broke a wall?
No. Breaking the fourth wall means you look to the camera.
What does it mean?
Breaking the fourth wall means you look to the camera like you're looking at the people who's watching at home.
Oh, really? I never heard that. Never heard that expression. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, it was. I think if he looks at evil glint, it's just because why can you see my heartbeat in my shirt?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's innocent.
Yeah, but yeah. It's just really weird.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah. When you guys got offered to do songs for Back to the Future, hadn't you guys turned down Ghostbusters the year before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had.
Yeah, Ray Parker Jr., he still maintains it was a coincidence, but did you personally feel ripped off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was real clear. I mean, believe me, it was clear. It was clear. It wasn't ambiguous or something we made up. You know, I mean, if you listen to, excuse me, if you listen to Ghostbusters,
right
at the very beginning, it's fading up. As it's fading up, you hear in the background the guitar player going, "Whoa, whoa!"
Yeah.
The beginning of Purple Haze.
Yeah.
Like we have it to start. You can hear right from then on, you know.
Yeah.
And plus, Columbia had come to us asking us for "I Want a New Drug" months and months before that album, that record, before we cut Ghostbusters, and we politely refused to give it to them because we were saving it for a single.
Right.
So as we came to find out, they had cut the whole movie using "I Want a New Drug" in all the places where Ghostbusters was because they felt confident they were going to be able to buy it from us. Mm-hmm. But we didn't give it to them. So they're ready to put out an album. We don't give them a song, and they need something to fill that space. And they hired a well-known plagiarist to come up with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
That's pretty evil, I have to say.
It worked out great for us.
Yeah, but I think you guys were a great fit though for Back to the Future because that's a movie that takes place in California, and it really it's really a great song, Power of Love. Wasn't it originally going to be on 4? You guys were going to plan it for that album? No, it was not planned for that. That was written for the song for that movie. Yeah. And then we 4 was out before it was even cut, I think. Oh, okay. That was just one of those internet rumors. But were you shocked when the song got nominated for an Academy Award? Yeah, it was great. It was great. In fact, I think if it hadn't been for Lionel Richie, we would have got that. But he had that "Say You" song and just beat us out. So, funny story. You probably didn't see it, but when we did that, we performed at the Academy Awards. Mm-hmm. So we performed "Power of Love" at the Academy Awards, and Academy Awards are not set up for live music. They can't do live music. So right. We were set up to do a live track, which means he would sing over a recording of the band playing the song. Okay. Mm-hmm. So here's the setting. We're behind a curtain. The curtain is going to go up, and right in front of the curtain is all the leading players and directors and producers of Hollywood
rows of this place. It's a huge place, packed with everyone you ever saw in a movie, you know?
Right.
And the curtain goes up, and you know, when you do a video, when you playing back to a video, there's a little beep, beep, beep at the beginning of the song, so you get the tempo in your head, right? It goes beep, 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 and then you get 4 of those, and then off you go. So, you know what it is. The curtain goes up, and we hear the beep, beep, beeps twice as fast.
Yeah.
And the song starts twice as fast, double speed.
Yeah.
Which means it sounds like chipmunks. And we're supposed to be lip syncing, and we're playing live. We were screwed. It was 7 seconds of hell.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. It was absolutely horrifying. That was probably the worst moment in my life. In my band's life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys were never on that trajectory to play at an award show, but just like when it happens, you know, and you think it's great, then something like that happens, it's a disaster.
Exactly. Unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And it felt like life was over. Life was going to end, you know, for us. But
yeah.
Bob Brown assured us that the guy wouldn't be working there tomorrow, and that it would be cool, you know. So I would not have liked to have been that guy. Oh man, Bob was so pissed, so pissed.
Man,
yeah, he was not a happy camper.
When you guys were recording 4, were you under a lot of pressure and expectation to follow up Sports and make it just as good?
Yeah, hell yeah, we were tons of pressure. But I think we always could have come up. We could have always faced the pressure, but it was hard for Huey, you know, and I think in some ways he kind of buckled too. You know, after 4 did okay, but he just felt like we're not going to be able to make another album of the same stuff, and I think we should take a turn here for a small world.
Right.
And I never agreed with that move, and to this day I don't. You know, I don't think you give root beer to an audience that's used to Coca-Cola. You know.
Yeah.
but there you go. You know. So that's kind of the beginning of the end of that for us. We tried to come back with Hard to Play, but it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, so
4.
Okay.
4 still has great songs on it. You know, I like that version you guys did of Jacob's Ladder because Bruce Hornsby's version is more jazz pop, but you guys took it and turned it into another Power of Love.
Yeah, Huey and I did that. Huey came to my house one day and said, I got this Hornsby song. He said, I wonder if there's anything here. And so, we one afternoon at my house in Nevada, we toughened it up.
Yeah.
It was not hard to do. It's a great chords. You know, it was really, and the melody's great. It was just like you said, it was softer than we were, and it was not hard to toughen it up at all.
And you guys did that.
And had fun doing it.
And you guys did that live video of it where you're playing at the Oakland Coliseum.
Yep.
And you guys also did my favorite video for Doing It All for My Baby.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I'm sure maybe most of the listeners have seen that. It's a remake of a twist on Dracula. I mean, a vampire. What am I talking about? A Frankenstein movie.
Yeah.
Frankenstein meets a new drug kind of thing.
Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, it's a great.
Go ahead.
I heard Huey hated making it because of all that makeup he had to put on.
Oh yeah, well, tough.
You got to play the butler, and you were the Siamese hunchback with Gibson. You know, was that a lot of was that a lot of time putting the makeup on?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of time. It took a lot of time. I mean, granted, Huey had a lot of makeup to put on tons, and it took a while, but that character is priceless. I mean, Huey Lewis as Frankenstein is priceless and well worth whatever little tiny bit of suffering he had to go through to get together. I mean, I had to do that. The head for me, the head where I'm carrying my own head into the room.
Yeah.
You know, that scene where I'm carrying my head in a glass jar.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, it took me a whole day to make that head. You know, I had to be in a plaster head mold, immobilized for hours.
Oh.
So we all had to go through stuff to do that. I say, toughen up, Huey. You're okay. You did good.
Yeah, it's a classic. I love that video.
It's great.
But going back to what you were saying, yeah, about Small World, yeah, I think by that point, you know, the change in sound happened, and I think Huey's lyrics got kind of more socially relevant and somewhat political.
Yep. Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was an equal share owner of the band, so I was entitled to my opinion too. You know. So,
yeah. I do like Perfect World though, because the lyrics ring true, especially in today's world with everyone's superficiality and delusional zeitgeist of making money and thinking that's going to make them happy. You know, it's a great message song. You know.
Agreed, completely. I love that song. Yeah, Alex wrote a great song, and fortunately we saw it for what it was and grabbed it. You know.
Yeah, and of course the classic Junkyard video.
Yeah, that was hard to shoot. That was very, very. We were out there for 3 days, and that's toxic stuff. That I don't know if you know, but when they put dirt on, you lay down your garbage, and then the trucks come and bring dirt to put on it, and then they grind it up, and they drive all over it. Mm-hmm. You know that's not dirt, right?
No. What is it?
It's not dirt. It's dried up poop.
Oh, that's terrible.
They get it from the waste plant, from the recycling place where they make water clean again.
Yeah.
So they get all the poop out of the water and then put it out in a big area and dry it. Oh. And then the people who do that sell it to the dumps to put in the dump. So they make money selling poop. And let me tell you, breathing that stuff for 3 days is not good for your health at all. No. We were all sick as dogs, man. Yeah.
I'm surprised you're all
out there in our Armani suits, in the poop.
I'm surprised you're all still alive after that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, really. Yeah. But hey, anything for a good video, right?
Yeah. So after you guys did 7 Chords and several years ago, which I think is an underrated cover album, you left the band after the tour was over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't leave the band. I got fired.
Oh, I thought you left the band.
No, I did not leave the band. I got fired. My mom and brother died that year. Oh. And I buckled. I got strung out on dope because I was unhappy. I did not want to live, and I was not a happy camper. And that's what ended up happening to me. So rather than rallying around me and helping me through it, I got fired. That was that.
Wow.
I don't really have a lot more comments than that to make on that, but it's not
that's sad.
Nothing I'm proud of, and I'm even less proud of my friends for abandoning me. You know.
Yeah, that's sad. Overall, how long were you in the band for?
Let's see, 14 years.
14 years. And out of those 14 years, how many of those years were good?
6.
6 of those years was good.
Yeah, they were great.
Wow.
6 of those years were unbelievable. And then things started getting sour, you know. I really rather not get into what was not good about it. You know?
That's okay.
It's just say that important people in the band started complaining a lot. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of the fun out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, all the fun.
It
became work.
That's sad.
It's too bad, you know?
Yeah. Because you had a reputation for being probably the most down-to-earth, friendly band when it came to your fans and all the people around you.
Yeah. It's sad because like there was a TV show Behind the Music. You know, we did a Behind the Music thing.
Yeah.
It just could not have been more a bunch of BS in the world. It was just bull.
Yeah.
And it just was so embarrassing to watch that show. You know. it's just thinking, well, what a crock, you know?
Yeah.
And anyone who could watch something like that and believe that it was all true, it really, you know, and so obviously, I don't know what to say. It was just, no band just has a great time the whole time, and and it's so upbeat, and we're happy, and we love what we're doing. It was just garbage.
Yeah.
Not to say a lot of it wasn't true, but there was no contrast to it. It was just all happy, joyous, and loving, and
yeah.
This wasn't. But you know, I guess it's kind of like you say. That's kind of what people have been taught to believe, and that's what they bought.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was true, but a lot of it was left out. I guess would be a way to put it. You know, like for example, the tone of that would have been a little different if it told the truth about me. And I was perfectly happy to tell the truth about what I had been up to and how I got fired and stuff. But the band gave me the wrong time and place to go to do my interview.
Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious that Huey told way too many details about the Ghostbusters thing, and then Ray Parker Jr. sued him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a no-no. Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that was funny. But where did you go after that?
Nowhere.
You didn't...
I went to treatment.
Uh-huh.
I went to treatment, and I hid out for a number of years. You know, I've been very much a recluse since then. I was pretty unhappy. You know, really. I'm surprised I lived through it. To tell you the truth, I'm shocked I lived through it because I attempted 3 suicides and you know, I was miserable, and it took a long time to get happy again, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. But you know, it's funny, you know, talk about the power of love. You know, I met my wife 20 years ago, and we've been together and happy ever since. And
congrats.
And you know, if it took me getting fired and get drug addicted and love to meet her, fine. That's fine, because I get the trade-off. You know, I get a happy life.
Yeah.
With a woman who totally understands me and puts up with me and supports me. It's pretty amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, unfortunately, I had to retire a couple of years ago. My back is so bad. My back is just shot, and so I can't stand up and play anymore.
Wow.
I can play sitting down, but
yeah.
no one wants to see a band. You know, no one wants to see a band with a guy sitting around the stage on a stool. You know, so I had to quit, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
And the last gig I had was I was playing bass with a Huey Lewis and News cover band, tribute band.
That's oh God, that's
and
funny.
It was great because I knew all the songs. I didn't have to learn anything. I just had to remember stuff. That's all. And it was nice guys. And we had a great time. They actually sounded more like Huey Lewis and News and Huey Lewis and News. It was unbelievable. This guy singing was incredible. He sounded just like Huey, but with perfect pitch. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a good time doing it. I got to play some new stuff, and I got them to play some of the songs that the News never did, and so that was really fun. Mm-hmm. And but then my back gave out. I just had to call it. Yeah.
Oh,
I was having to sit down all the time, and so I had to stop.
Oh, it's
hard. It's hard to say you're retired, man, when it's all you've ever done. One thing.
Oh yeah, I mean Gene Kelly was devastated when he couldn't dance anymore.
What's that?
Gene Kelly was devastated when he couldn't dance anymore.
Oh, did that happen to him? I didn't know that. Tell me what happened to Gene Kelly.
I can't remember what year it was. It was probably like the early '80s when he was getting to his 70s. He couldn't dance anymore because his legs were full of arthritis and what have you. And just, he felt depressed, the last 15 years of his life because that was his identity. That's what made him who he was,
Exactly. Yeah. When people ask, what do you do? I'm a bass player. That's what I am. What are you? I'm a bass player. What are you? What do you say? So I'm a bass player, but I can't play. I can play, play, but I just can't play standing up. And you know, I mean, shoot, Journey's not going to hire a guy who can't stand up and play. You know what I mean?
Journey. I don't think you want to be in that band with all the drama they have.
No, you're right, but you know, good payday. You know, it's a good example. You know, of a thing I couldn't take. You know,
of course.
So you're right about the drama, though. You know, must be tough.
Yeah,
must be tough.
But do you still talk to anybody from the news?
No. I finally gave up on that correspondence a couple years ago. He and I we stay in touch. I talked to him a couple times, and no, I think it's as uncomfortable for them as it is for me.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if they don't, they should feel bad for what they did, and I certainly had a hard time being the same old guy around them, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it just was easier for everybody just to not talk to each other. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Because you know they were all my best friends, so I thought, and so I anticipated us growing old together, you know, and being able to sit around and tell stories, because all my stories to tell are with them.
Yeah.
You know, Bill Gibson since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a letdown to not have that. I was wrong about that. That wasn't how I was. You know, that wasn't to be. But you know, time wounds all heals, right?
Exactly. What do you make of Huey's recent hearing loss?
I don't know. I think having suffered with hearing problems for a long time, I can understand it. I know of the disease. I can't imagine how disappointing it must be to have music sound so bad in your head. I don't know about that part, but I think in some ways it was in a way good for him, because I don't think he would have known how to quit.
Yeah.
You know, any more than I would have known how to quit. And I think that if you can live out these last few days with some peace and hope, I don't know if he has love in his life, which makes a big difference, you know. But
yeah.
He's got his kids and stuff, so. But I think it would have been hard for him to know when to say quit, you know. So maybe it will end up having been the best thing for him. It's hard to say, you know.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to say I used to be a singer, you know.
Yeah.
I used to be a bassist. It's hard to grow some character on you. So we'll see.
Yeah, he should.
I might give him a call next year and see how he's doing.
Yeah, he should make movies again, because he's a good actor.
He could be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that he enjoys it enough to try any harder than he does, though, you know?
Yeah.
You have to enjoy something to have it become a craft. And I don't think he enjoys it enough but maybe I'm wrong. It could be wrong. It might have changed. You know, something might have grown.
Right.
But I know it's something he always kind of got away with rather than excelled at. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for that reason, I don't know that he ever would have really made it a craft and had it become, you know, something he was, you know, rather than something he did. But we'll see. Maybe he'll become like, you know, some late bloomer.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Hope so. That'd be great.
Do you personally have a favorite song in the band?
I do, but we recorded it, but we never released it.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you wouldn't know the song. And next to that, I was going to say she's just like a girl, but I realized that we never released that either. So I guess two of my two favorite songs we never released. So that goes to tell you that must say something, huh?
Yeah.
About me and the band. Great tunes, but yeah, there you go. Don't Ever Tell Me You Love Me. I like that song.
That's a good one, yeah.
A lot of the early songs I liked a lot. You know,
Me
the
too.
band was rocking. Like through sports,
mm-hmm.
you couldn't get a band on stage that would be
Yeah.
We may not have been the best, but there was no one that was better than us. We were really good. We were really good. We rocked hard. We gave it everything we had. For those first 6 or 8 years, man, we laid it down real good. And I'm very proud of what we were, what we did then. It was a band worth buying.
Exactly. My two favorite songs. I mean, I love all the top 10 hits, but the two I really love.
Most importantly, what are your favorite songs?
Walking on a Thin Line, which I think is a great commentary about Vietnam vets.
I agree.
And Is It Me?
Yeah. Wow. That's great you mentioned that. That's a great song. I love that song.
Yeah, it's got
great call.
It's got this great little, doo-wop homage with an 80s vibe to it, And also, my favorite album, of course, is Sports. But what's your favorite album?
Oh, somewhere in between, somewhere Sports and 4 in there. Mm-hmm. I think we figured out how to do it by Sports.
Yeah.
And 4 was kind of like Sports and 4 kind of like our version of Rubber Soul and Revolver.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an extension of it, one another. It could have been a double album,
Yeah, exactly. Well, so these days you're just retired, then you're not doing any gigs or nothing?
No, I've considered a couple times finishing my, mastering my album and putting it out, but I haven't been able to make peace with that yet. And I've had enough people hassling me to write a book, but I haven't been able to make peace with that yet. So right now, what I've done is I've gotten into riding electric scooters, which I do with my wife every night. We go out about midnight and go terrorize the neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of remote control aircraft. And other than that, I'm pretty much just chilling, watching YouTube.
Oh, that's great. God bless you. I think you have a great story that you should write a book.
I still don't think anyone would believe it. If anyone could convince me really that people would believe it, I would probably write it.
It doesn't matter what they believe. Just put it out there and see if people respond.
Yeah, right. Or maybe write something. Write it knowing that they won't believe it.
Yeah.
And just accepting that. Maybe that would be better. Yeah. Well, I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
If you write that book, I will buy it.
Okay, deal.
Okay.
Deal.
Mario, this has been so amazing. Thank you for being my 700th guest today.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you so much, sir,
okay.
And you have yourself a great day.
Okay, we'll do. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Mario Cipollina. Ain't he a cool dude? That is a great story. It's a sad story, but it has a happy ending. Because I love Huey Lewis and News music, but oh my, it's sad how, you have all this electricity in the air and then things can just change at the turn of a hat. That's an inspirational story. Thanks, Mario. Thanks for being my 700th guest. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!